All right, well, let me share my screen with you. I'm going to go through some cool content today, and I'm also going to have some time to just open up and answer questions and kind of see what's going on in your business as you've come on the call today. If you'll do me a favor, go in the chat box and just kind of tell everybody where you're from. And I would like to, I'm working on a little bit of a content update, and I want to know what your most urgent business challenge is today. What is the one thing that if you could solve this, that would make a big difference for you? Like, man, Verl, if I could just fix this, this would make the biggest impact in my business as I finish out 2024. Or what is it you'd like to see change or do different in 2025 that will help you going forward? So go into chat real quick and just type that and type those in. Just like, I'd really love to hear from you. We have Billings, Montana. Love that. Maryville, Tennessee. Elliott City, Maryland. Cool. Wichita, Kansas. Hey, Heather. So most urgent business challenge or thing you'd like the most help with. If I could solve this, better follow up with your database. Okay. Meaning you have lots of people in there, but you don't have a systematic way of touching them. But I'll tell you what, there's some cool technology out there now that helps you with that. And so if we get a chance towards the end of the webinar today, Bob, stay on and let's talk about that. And I'll share with you how we're getting into databases now. And we're actually predicting the top 20% they're going to move in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And then coming up with a high touch program around that with some new tech that's kind of really cool. Heather says streamlining operations. Heather, tell me what you mean more about that. Like operations for your admin to do things more efficiently, for you to do more efficiently operationally. And I hope you don't mind me asking this. Like for me, we have coaching clients all over North America, actually all over the world, that share different business problems, and everybody's kind of dealing with different things right now. And it's interesting to hear what most people think their problem is versus what the real problem is. So Heather, tell me more about streamlining operations. What does that mean to you?
Just being more efficient and making sure everybody has their role and what that would be. So
now, do you have an admin, Heather?
Not really. So I'm a fledgling
Okay.
team. It's kind of transition. I've had a team and an admin, and then I collapsed it down. Oh, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. So now I gotta just start fresh.
Yeah, and and you know what? Knowing what you know now versus what 7 years ago, the way we were doing teams 7 years ago is so different than the way we do them today. And it's a little bit of the Wild West still, but there's structure to it, so we can help you with that. So I'll talk a little bit about that. So I'm gonna write these down, and I think that our content today is going to help all of you with the things that you've put in here. But I'm gonna and Jenny, so I'm gonna deal with recruiting's in here, best practices for teams are in here, streamlining operations is in here, and following up with the database. Bob, I don't really have a lot of that in this content today, but that's okay. I'll talk to you about that as we get into it. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, you should be seeing a single slide of me. Is that what it looks like? Big V with my new purple jacket. Okay, so the need for speed, revealing the secrets to accelerated business success. I change this from business success to team success and back and forth all the time because not everybody looks at their business as a team. But I'm going to say that we're probably all teams. And for me, a team is simply a tool. It's not like, I don't think everybody should, have this big, massive, crazy team. I think that what we need to do is we need to say, okay, how do I build the business that supports the lifestyle I want? And what are the tools, the training, or the people that I need in place that will help me create the leverage to have the business that I want? Does that make sense? So it's not about team or not to team. It's about leverage. So all leverage means to me is how do I enjoy life better without having to do all the work myself? And what are the things that I can focus on that'll give me the greatest success? So I'm going to give you a couple of things. One of the things I'm going to give you today is I'm going to give you daily success habits in my perfect week, but we created a new document that is 90 questions that everybody on your team should be able to answer about the local market. And the way you get that is you're going to go to when you go to the QR code and you fill out the thing it's called Find My Fit. It's a little quiz. It takes about less than 2 minutes. Then you'll get a copy of that. We'll send it to you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. I'm just giving this now so you can just stay focused with me on the content of the webinar so everybody can have access to that. So the 5 things I'm going to talk about are delegation, understanding return on time, how to recruit and top grade top talent, marketing expertise, how to really become experts in the marketplace, and what it means to be a leader. And the leadership piece of this transfers not just from your business, but it also transfers into every area of your personal life. Leadership skills help you be great leaders, also help you be great partners, great spouses, great parents, great community advocates. So there's leadership is such an interesting thing. And I think that where our industry has really failed us is we have put all these people in places where we're teaching them that they should build teams, but no one's teaching them how to be great leaders. No one's teaching them how to really lead people and get people to really love being part of something bigger than themselves. And one of our focuses at Workman is to really help develop leaders. And by developing leaders, we're helping develop better people. And so it just kind of goes into every aspect of your life. So we've gone from this kind of a crazy market where if you had a really good business plan and moderate skills and moderate action, you could sell a certain number of houses. So we would spend a lot of time in business planning. And right now is business planning season. So if you're not working on your 2025 business plan, I'm going to recommend you do that. I'll do a couple of webinars over the next, I'm going to say 30 to 60 days, where I really get into business plans with you, if that would be helpful. And I'll break down what we put in business plans, how we do it. We've got a one-page business plan that helps you really streamline what it is you want to accomplish. Would that be helpful? Is that something you'd be interested in doing with us? Is going through your business plans? You can give me a thumbs up. For those of you on video, I can see you, Heather and Bob and Catherine and Candace. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Now, what's happened is we've gone from this planner market to where anybody could come in real estate, and if they did the right things, if they did some open houses, they showed up, they did a little bit of social media, Instagram or whatever, they had lots of activity, they could sell houses. Well, this action-based market has changed. You can't just fog a mirror and sell a house anymore. It's now changed and it's moved into what I call a skills-based market. And so moderate action and a moderate plan will help you, but we've moved into this place where the consumer today is kind of sick and tired of dealing with friends that are also realtors. And they are dealing with complex real estate transactions, high interest rates, inflation, limited inventory. All of the things that cause people to be confused in the marketplace right now require someone who has a higher level of skill to be able to help people navigate through the muddy waters of real estate. The class action lawsuit's been kind of interesting because we spent, I don't know how many millions of hours have been spent by brokers and owners and brands and boards and MLSs and news media outlets training agents on how to do things differently. And most agents don't have a problem. They get buyer agreements signed, they get listing agreements signed, they do what they need to do to represent the client's best interest. But we spent thousands of hours training people on how to not get sued. And most of them don't sell any houses, and they don't have to worry about getting sued because they're not selling any houses. I'm going to say that we need to be more focused on the activities that generate revenue and less focused on how we're going to not get sued. Does that make sense? Now, I want to make sure you're compliant and you do the right things for your customers. That's a given. But I want to focus on how do we generate more opportunities? How do you get face-to-face or belly-to-belly with more people that want to buy and sell? And I want you to think about the market. We've gone from an action market, from a planning market to an activity-based market. If you can fog a mirror, you can sell a house, to a skills-based market. And there's a next level. And the next level is what I call the professionals-based market. And the professionals market is kind of like separating the amateur players from the pros. And if you watch even college sports and then you watch professional sports, the next level, there is a big difference. When I see, even in my little kids, so it's kind of funny, I've got all these grandkids that play soccer now. And so I've got, Ryan's got he's got 4 daughters and they all play soccer. And he's got 3 of them that play rec soccer that's coached by parents, and they run around the field chasing a ball, and that's fun to watch. And then he's got 1 that plays comp soccer on a premier level team, which is a girls team that's 10 years old, and they do passes and run plays and have set plays on corner kicks, and they play their positions, and they're coached by a paid coach. It's really interesting to watch how the level of play is elevated so much just by having somebody who is paid to coach these kids instead of a parent who also volunteered to be a coach. Now, they're all having fun, but the skills are very different when you go up to these different levels. The same as in real estate. If you think about professionals market, everybody has opinions on what you should do with real estate. But when you deal with someone who's an actual professional in it, they have better training, better education, more knowledge. They have experience. They've seen deals. I don't know, how long have you guys all been in real estate? Bob, how long have you been doing real estate?
24 years.
24 years. You've been through the crap. You've seen it all. Like I
Most
doubt that I could
definitely,
give you a real estate situation that you haven't seen or dealt with. Well,
Probably that's right. Yeah.
that's one of the biggest difference between amateurs and professionals is experience. They've got game time experience. This is kind of an interesting stat. We track calls to closings. So when you're prospecting in 2019, it took 167 calls to get a closing. In 2020, it took 134 to get a closing. You see how it's now an activity-based market? It's easier. Fog a mirror, sell a house. In 2021, as we're coming in out of COVID, everybody was buying houses. They were buying second properties. They were doing all the things. 127 calls. By 2022, it had gone back to 2019 numbers. It got harder. It took 165 calls. 2023, it went to 222. Agents are trying to figure out why they're not selling as many houses, and they're doing the same things they were doing in 2021. But doing the same things, you're getting a lower response. So you have to have greater effort to get the same number. You can't just do the same things. It requires a greater effort to get the same response. The good news is that the numbers in 2024, as we're getting more skilled, are going back the right direction. It's taking fewer dials to get a transaction. And I believe as we get into 2025, it's even going to go down more because we have better and more intelligent data. Is this interesting to you guys to see that how the numbers change over time? And when you're tracking this on hundreds and hundreds of agents that are prospecting and doing their numbers, what happens is that our results become predictable. So I can look at what you do in a day, and I can tell you what kind of results you're getting. But if you don't track what you do in a day, you won't know. So the question is what are the skills that you need in your business today when you're feeling buried so that you can get your business and your life back? Heather, you said operational stuff was big on your list, right? It was really getting strong operationally. So write this down. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. And it's not bad to be an assistant. I think it's a great thing, and there's a role for everybody. But do you have other obligations besides your real estate business that you have to be present for? And so when you're doing $20 an hour tasks, what you're saying to the family and friends and people that also require your time is that you need to do $20 an hour tasks instead of spend time with them. And it gets overwhelming and you feel guilt and you get frustrated. And so you want to get your operations set so that you know they can be systematically handled and you can be present when you're with the other people in your life that matter. Does that resonate? And there's lots of ways to create that leverage. So if you feel buried by all the paperwork, and I'll tell you what, the transaction with the class action lawsuit hasn't got easier. It's just more complex. And so now we're having to do buyer agreements earlier in the process. We do limited showing agreements. We have to do all kinds of things different today than we had to do even 90 days ago. And so it's more complex. So the more help you have doing those miscellaneous things will help you create the balance you want in your life. Understanding your role in real estate is how you create life balance. But when you don't understand your role, everything gets out of whack. So let me give you an example of that. So matter of fact, I have I'll go soccer story. One of my sons, Ryan played competitive soccer and he was on a really good team. And fortunately, Ryan had a friend on the team whose dad was an orthopedic surgeon. It was actually Jake, my son Jake. And I remember at the very first game during a state cup competition, Jake was running down the right side on a full-on sprint as the other team was going to cross the ball, and he did a slide tackle on a turf. And when he hit the slide tackle, his ankle hit the turf and bent, and you could hear it snap. And the parents on the sidelines were like, "Oh!" Everybody could hear that. And like I literally picked my son up, put him in a wagon, and took him as fast as I could to the car. While I'm on the car, one of the other kids' dads on the team is an orthopedic surgeon who played professional soccer. How cool is that? So I called Dr. Marshall up and I said, Dr. Marshall, Jake's been hurt. Where do I take him? He says, meet me at my office. And I didn't call the general practitioner. I didn't want to go to the ER. I didn't want to go to any general orthopedic surgeon. I wanted an orthopedic surgeon who specialized in sports injuries who understood the dynamics of having a soccer player that if they didn't fix this right, wasn't going to be able to play. So Dr. Marshall did the MRI. He showed the bone shattered and it was broken in several places. Showed that Jake had to have very special screws put in. And he says, I've already overnighted the screws. It's a special screw. It's a low profile. And I'm going to insert it in his ankle in a place so when he strikes the ball, he doesn't hit the screw. Like, just think, I would have never thought that. When you think about what it means to deal with a professional, that's what I'm talking about in elevating. When I called Dr. Marshall, he also did my shoulders and does some other things that we've had fixed over the years. When I think about who you go to when you have a problem and what their role is. Now, I called Dr. Marshall because he's my friend. Now, as soon as I met with him, I met with his PA, and then I met with his assistant, and then we met with the physical therapist afterward for rehab. Dr. Marshall was there in the initial consultation, and he was there during the surgery. But everything else we did, we dealt with somebody on the team. And somebody on the team made sure Jake had the medication he needed, make sure he did the rehab, make sure he went through physical therapy. Marshall has good life balance because he doesn't do it all for every patient. He does surgery. So in this story, Heather, who are you? Are you the receptionist? Are you billing the insurance company? Are you doing the physical therapy? Are you doing the analysis? Are you doing everything that involved with it? And you're following up the patient to make sure they get care? Or are you the specialist?
I am trying to train the others, and that's the but still
Beautiful.
work and make money. So that's the
Yes.
fun
Right.
of it.
So it's all going to come together here for you in a second. So in order to have life balance, you have to understand your role, and your role is you are the surgeon. You're the surgeon in this scenario who specializes in real estate, residential, commercial, land, whatever it is your specialty is. That's who you are. We have this problem as entrepreneurs and serial entrepreneurs, and we're all entrepreneurs, where we struggle delegating. When we struggle to delegate, it's because of these reasons. So when I ask why people can't let go, tell me if any of this resonates with you, Heather. We don't trust people that they're going to take care of our client the way we would, because you know how you take care of people. Our time constraints, we bring people in, but we don't really have the time to train them because we're so busy trying to make $1. So we hope they can just kind of figure it out through osmosis. We're afraid of giving up control, meaning we let them do it. We don't really let them do it. We meddle in everything that they do. We have a perfectionist mentality. Our ego is a big one, that nobody can ever do it as good as me syndrome. And I just want all of you to know, this is not for Heather, this is for everybody, that people can do it as good as you. And some people are wired to even do it better than you. And so when they love the attention to detail and making sure things get done correctly, they can do it better than you. You started off by saying lack of systems, knowing that you needed better systems in place for them to follow. Previous bad experiences you've done in the past, and because of the nightmare that you had, you don't want to go through that again because it caused you more grief than just doing it yourself. I see lots of head nodding here. So we need a model. Somebody really needs to model how to do it correctly. And I'll see if I can help you with that a little bit. And then we can't afford to let it go because you can't afford to lose the business. I see this with buyer's agents a lot. Somebody in the chat put they want to hire a buyer's agent. We hire a buyer agent, but then they can't afford to give it to them because they create the wrong compensation model for buyer's agents. And so by overpaying your agents, you won't let them have your A clients. And so the buyer's agents fail because they never get your A clients because you overpay them and you can't afford to let them have it. So there's a system and a structure to every part of running a team that you need. But you have to understand I call this return on time. If you put an hour into something, what is the return you're going to get on time? You've heard us talk about return on investment, right? If you're going to invest in Sync or Fellow or Boomtown or KB Core or Follow Up Boss or any of the high volume lead generation systems, we tell you that you should get a 6x return on investment. So if you spend $1,000, you should get a $6,000 return. There's something more important than return on investment, and that is return on time. If you spend an hour prospecting for listings, you get one appointment, your return on time is probably somewhere around $10,500. If you spend an hour doing admin work, your return on time is $20. The way that we get the ability to afford to train and hire and get the right people in place is when we bring an admin in, we bring somebody in to support us, whether it's virtual or in-house. we block an hour of time that we used to spend doing support staff work, and we focus on looking for new business. So if you take 3 hours a day, that's admin work, and you give it to somebody else, and you give me one of those hours back on prospecting for listings, and you generate one listing an hour, or at least one appointment an hour, what happens is you now, instead of getting $20 an hour benefit, you get $10,000 an hour benefit. And now you never have to worry about how do you pay for the people. And it allows you to hire what I call A players in the role. One of the challenges we have when we hire people is we have a tendency to be cheap, and we hire on the lower end of the pay scale. And I'm a believer, when you're looking for someone to support your life, that you should pay on the higher end of the pay scale, or create incentives that allow them to earn higher, because you'll get better people in the role. And when you hire A players, your clients get a better experience. They figure stuff out. They anticipate what you need before you need it, and they just get crap done. Is it possible, Heather, in the past, when you had people helping you, that they weren't A players?
I had a full-time admin,
Uh-huh.
and then and she was really good and stuff. My people left when they got married or moved,
Yeah,
husbands
life events.
relocated. They didn't quit on me, and I just never refilled them, right? But I found that they couldn't sell a house like I could sell a house. Like, it was just, I almost was working to feed them because they were green. The ones I was, 10, 15 years ago, I'd get calls like, I want to come work for you. And then when I was ready to build a team, it was like everybody could do it on their own. And I had to get the green players, and so then it was so much time training them that it took away from my profitability on turnovers. And so it was just, yeah, it just is a drain when you're working for them, and it's going to pay off. But then, it was kind of a relief as they went off, because then I could just focus on me again. So it was just, yeah. And it was right before COVID. So I was like, oh, perfect timing. So it was all good there. So.
Yeah, so I get all of that. I'm going to say that a team leader's job, not even a team leader, I'm going to say a business leader's job, is two things. The first one is business development, creating opportunities. And the second one is people development. Business development, people development. But we think our job is selling houses. And when you change your mindset to, hey, my role every day is to get up and create opportunities and then develop my people to be great at delivering, it changes your stress, because instead of trying to sell a house, you're now trying to get 5 people and teach them to be great at selling houses. And over time, they become so good that you can step back and only do what you really want to do in the real estate business. And that's the goal. Some people love production. They love listing houses. They love doing the interaction with the client. I want you to always do what you love, but not because you have to, because you get to. You get to choose that. But you got to figure out that return on time and where to focus. So how many of you track on a daily basis what you actually do? Do any of you use these tools? So this is called your daily success habits tracker. I'm going to give you these. So your daily success habits tracker is, here's what I want you to do. I want you to track every day in 30-minute increments down this left side, everything you do. What'd you do from 7:30 to 8? And I want you to write down, here's what I did every day in these 30-minute increments. And then I want you to track and give yourself points for doing dollar productive activities. Prospecting calls, prospecting emails or texts, sending handwritten notes to clients, showing 2 houses to a client, you get 10 points for that. If you only show 1 house, you don't get points, because you can't do an alternative choice close, do like A or B, if you only show 1 house. And so we teach our agents to show 2 houses. When you go on a buyer appointment or a listing appointment, when you get a buyer or listing agreement signed, when you write an offer, when you have a closing, you get points for dollar productive activities. And the goal with everybody in your business is to get 61 points a day. Now, Heather, when you're training agents, we don't train them on, we train them on everything, but you really want to train them daily habits that they have to do every single day. And then we hold a daily huddle to make sure they're actually doing it. So we start tracking to a system. So the next sheet is on the right-hand side of the screen. It's called the My Perfect Week Scheduler. So we do what's called a quiet hour, where once a week you sit down and you look at your week and you say, what the crap do I have to do this week? What are my money-making activities? What are my office activities? What are personal things that I need to schedule in? And then you design what your perfect week would look like. This is called My Perfect Week. And then we compare what we actually do against our perfect week. So here's what we scheduled. Here's what we did. What do you think you discover if you start tracking what you do in 30-minute increments against what you actually planned on doing? What do you think you would discover, Bob?
Probably where I'm wasting a whole lot of time.
Yeah, so so there's this really weird concept in accountability that people think accountability is someone doing something to you. You know, you didn't do your homework, so you're grounded. That's accountability. To me, at this level of business, accountability is awareness. And that is when you become aware that your activities are not consistent with your goals, you're smart enough to know that you don't want to keep doing that, so you make changes. So, but if you don't track the right things, you don't become aware of it, and you keep doing the things that have kept you where you are for so long. So if you want to have big growth or you want to have a change in the outcome, we have to be more aware of what we actually do so that we can just make course corrections. Accountability is awareness. It's not something someone's going to do to you. I can't make Heather do anything she doesn't want to do. Like and I'm a pretty good coach. But the bottom line is she has to choose it. It's not something I'm going to make her do. So if she's hungry and she's humble and she's teachable and we start tracking the right things, all of a sudden, everything opens up. Now, if you were to write down, Heather, everything you did in 30-minute increments right here, and now I'd ask you to write down this at the top, $100 an hour. And my question is, would you be willing to pay someone $100 an hour to do that task? If the answer is no, you can no longer do it yourself. Because if I can't get you focusing on activities that are worth more than $100 an hour, then I'm a bad coach. So we delegate everything else out. It's either got to be a system, a process, or a person that comes in and does that task. So if you'll do this for 30 days for me, I'll do a call with you, Heather, and I'll just sit down with you. We'll look at what you do every day for 30 days. And I can help you figure out, okay, what do we delegate? What do we keep? How do we get someone or a system to do those things? And then we'll just coach you to the gaps. It's really simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. You still have to do the work, right? You just have to find someone to do the work. Okay. So we talked about the perfect week. We talked about the daily success habits. Okay. Now let's talk about the who. So understanding that we know what our role is. We're the surgeon, not the secretary, not the receptionist, not the physical therapist. All those roles are important. We're the surgeon. How do we find and attract the right people? How do we find the right people? We just launched a program called Jolt, and Jolt is our high voltage recruiting program, and it's an entire recruiting system that you can get access to. There'll be emails or whatever. Just pay attention to that. But I'm going to give you one of the things that's in Jolt so that you can understand how we separate ourselves from everybody else. Recruiting is kind of like online dating. Now, fortunately, I've never had to go through online dating. Unlike Taylor here, who's a young lion, that's all she knows. And so, Taylor, did you meet your husband online?
Yeah, we met on a dating app.
On a dating app. Okay, so I've never done that. And thank heavens that my wife hasn't kicked me down the road yet, because I don't know if I could function in that and if I could handle the rejection of people swiping left. Being attractive as a business is the concept of when people look at your business, they swipe right and go, I want to know more. How do we make your business so attractive that people choose you over going with another brokerage, another team, or another business? And we do that by creating and really being able to articulate what I call as your unfair competitive advantage. And we have a worksheet called Aruba. And Aruba is where we talk about what we deliver for our team members. And so what are the available resources that you have that make you unique? So example would be coaching and mentoring, or social media support, or a full-time admin, or online training. All the things that you do, you write a list of all of your resources. And then we ask you, it's unique why? So Aruba stands for available resources, unique because it's a dedicated program helping agent guidance. So for example, if you're a Workman coaching client and we're coaching you, we also coach your team. So team leaders get 2 calls a month, but team members get a call every Thursday where they get to get on the phone with our coaches and they role play scripts and dialogues, and we help them message better to the marketplace. And so that becomes unique as an offering when someone joins your team, that you're investing in that. If you do social media support or professional photography or whatever you provide, you write that's unique because. And then if it's unique because of this, why is it better than what somebody else offers? So better because this is why it's better. You write it out. And the actual benefit to the person who joins your team is this. So by filling this out, what happens is you begin to learn how to articulate your unfair competitive advantage, what makes it different to join you. You can't just say, oh, you get me. Like that's not an unfair competitive advantage. You have to be able to articulate why you're better. The next thing that we do is we teach you to do what's called a success probability index. What is it? What if you could determine when you meet with an agent, their likelihood of having success? And so we've created what's called a success probability index where we evaluate. I wonder if this is linked. Let me see if this loads. It does. Here, I'm gonna show you what this looks like live. Okay, are you still seeing my screen? Okay, so we go through. Now, I want you to imagine I'm meeting with an agent, and I'm going to sit down with them. I'm going to say, I'm going to take a look at your tech. There's no cost or obligation. We're going to look at everything you do in your business, and we're going to score your likelihood of having success. And so, Bob, when you're meeting with the buyer's agent, you're sitting down, you say, okay, what do you use for CRM? Do you use that on a daily basis? And then we score it. And so by putting a score in here, we score it 1 to 10. Then we look at their marketing. We score that. We look at their lead management. You said you wanted a better lead system. So I would do this score with you. How are your leads being tracked? Do you have an ABC follow-up system? Do you have a document lead management system? Documented lead management system? Do you have you articulated A, B, and a C? Do you touch them on a systematic way? Do all the team members know how to follow up on it? Are they used on a bi-weekly conversations? Do you use a system we use called double looping, where I can go into your database and I can pick any lead and I can determine whether or not you're following up the way you should be following up? I can see it in a second. So we teach our team leaders how to do this. We look at your real estate, your virtual mastery, your transaction management, your business management, and accounting. By going through all of this and scoring it with an agent, it becomes really clear, really fast, whether or not they have what they need from a technology perspective to have success. And then we go and make recommendations based on those things. Now, the good news is, and I'll just show you this is kind of cool, that as a client, when you get into here, you get access to our full-on Workman training system, and that gives you answers to everything that they might be missing. So, for example, let's just go to my courses here. There's buyer agent training, listing agent training, admin training. So no matter what their role is on the team, we have hundreds of videos on training those positions to be great at it. And the new thing that we've just launched, and this wasn't part of my webinar, but I'm going to show this to you anyway, is we've launched Workman AI. And inside the Workman AI, I got an email from one of my coaching clients this morning. I just got to share this with you. It was a text. And her name is Michelle Terry. Michelle's awesome. She says, Verl, I'm literally running my entire team with Workman AI. You have something here every agent and every office in the world should be using. It's game changing. I said, tell me more. She says, I'm doing agent deal challenges, client challenges, agent challenges, pipeline challenges, competing for listings and buyer rep challenges, and it's all being answered in your Workman AI. So what you're looking at right here is this is your Workman AI. And so I'm going to show you something that's kind of cool. The first thing, whoops, that went fast. This one right here is our National Association's public fact FAQ bot on the class action lawsuit. So we've taken literally hundreds of documents and videos put out by the National Association of Realtors and others, and we've tracked everything, and we've put it into an AI bot to ask and answer any questions about the class action lawsuit. And it answers, and it gives you a link to the resource and where you get the answer. So let me give you an example is, when should I get a buyer? When should I get a buyer agreement signed? I know you all know the answers to this, but it goes into my commission law set FAQs, and it gives you exactly when you should get it done. Then it links to the resource where that is found inside the database. So that's really a cool one. Here's another one. This one's our role play bot. One of the biggest challenges when you're going in is actually knowing what to say and when to say it and how to role play. So Heather, when you get your agents role playing, we teach them how to do it electronically. And so I'm going to mute this right here. I can put an easy prompt in that says, here, let me click here. This shows you how to prompt this. But so we've written a whole prompt engineering for real estate. So it teaches you how to write the right prompts. But I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to go in here and just show you how we do this. I'm just going to click start, and it's going to say, okay, what do you want to do? It says, okay, does your client own or rent? They own. It's going to ask me now, okay, great. So what are the potential objections they have? They want to sell, but have a low interest rate and are afraid. That legit? They're afraid the new house is going to cost them more. It's going to be smaller. It says, great. What's the objective of the role play? Set a listing appointment. So my role play is to set a listing appointment. It says, okay, great. It says on a scale of 10, how challenging do you want this role play to be? 10 being I hang up on you, 8 being hard. Let's do a 7. And it says, okay, here we go. Now, as it's going through here and building this, it's giving me a buyer's script, coaching on it. It's giving me a seller's script for a verified contingency sell program. These are all different resources and tools that the agent can use in going through and doing the role play. So understand your schedule, possibility of selling your home. How can I assist you today? This is the client row. It says you're playing the role of real estate attending to the list. Here's the client. It says, and it just goes. It says, yep, I've been considering it. To be honest with you, I'm hesitant with low interest rates. So it goes through and does a full role play. When it's done with the role play and I set the appointment, it then evaluates and scores my role play and then tells me what I could have done better. And we have agents that are spending hours on this. And then they're getting into real situations with buyers or sellers, and they're getting deals signed because they've role played every scenario that could possibly come out. So in training your agents, this is really cool. Let me give you another scenario. So if you hire a new buyer's agent, we have this new thing called Workman AI. In Workman AI here, I can say, now this is going to be, Heather, I want you to just watch. I have a new buyer's agent that needs training, period. Now, it's going to start creating it right now. And now it's going to tell you which videos to watch. It's going to link you to the videos. It's going to tell you which things to do. And then it's going to give you a knowledge check on and what to check with it. So this is just like the very beginning. And all of these resources live inside the system. And so the resources live in there on buyer agent training. We also have a 30, 60, 90 buyer specialist plan. This is a full onboarding plan for a buyer's agent. We have it for a listing partner. We have it for an admin, and it tells them everything you want them to do for the next 60 days, and we track it. The cool thing with AI now is we've developed AI bots that train on Workman content, and we have 10 years of the best training in the world now, all living in our own proprietary AI engine. And so you now have access to this as a client. You're able to get in and see all that. Would that make training a little bit easier for you, Heather? So let's have a little bit of fun here. What if I said, write me a series of social media posts to attract an agent who could benefit from this training? And now it's going to write my social media posts for attracting the agent, and you can go in and follow that. I can literally go in and say, now create It's going to go through and grab my job descriptions. It's going to grab resources. It's going to create the key responsibilities, acceptable behaviors, qualifications, compensation structure, everything based on the way Workman does it. And so now you've got this new world of artificial intelligence tools plugged into some of the best content that's ever been created around building and developing your business. And now you have access to it at your fingertips, and you'll get really good at creating this. You'll find that I'm not even sharing with you 1% of what's here. The key is to be able to understand that there's an answer to every question that somebody falls short with here. And you can go in an AI and say, okay, how do I get an agent to use it on a daily basis? It'll answer, it'll create your daily huddle agenda. It'll give you motivation stuff and ways to develop your agents, team building activities, whatever you want inside there. Remember, we've moved from a action-based market into a skills-based market. Lindsay Vaughn, who's in Texas, is kind of fun to talk to. She's went through kind of a struggle where she actually bought a brokerage, and then she realized she didn't like running a brokerage. And so she went back, she sold her brokerage back to Remax, and now she just runs her team. And she started doing 3 deals a month. Now she's doing, 12 transactions a month. And in a market where her individual market is down, she's up 300 or 400% in transactions because she stopped trying to build a brokerage and she focused on just building her business. And she'll tell you that her business is a lot better as a result. I was going to show you AI next, but I already did that. So I showed you the AI stuff. Before I move on from that, as we talk about AI a little bit, how many of you are using some AI tools in your own business? And what are you using? Heather, you're nodding your head. How are you using artificial intelligence?
Oh, I use it to help me write things, descriptions, that kind of thing. But I also learned early on, 2 or 3 years ago, I took a webinar on it before it was just starting to come in real estate more. And they were talking about how if you're a blogger or how your posts can rise, how you want to have, I think it was like 70% AI and then 30%. So otherwise it'll recognize it as AI and not shoot it up in the rankings. So I'll just use it as a stepping stone, a building block. Give me some different adjectives. But if you use it enough, it all the descriptions start to sound the same. So you really do have to manipulate it.
You do. You have to be really smart about that. I think I saw, hang on a second. I can't see my Zoom dashboard because of the way I'm sharing my screen. So I'm going to stop for just a second. I saw another. Oh, hi. Nice to see you, Tracy and Jenny. Nice to see you guys. You're on a different part of my screen. I didn't get to see you here. Let's see. I had a client that was on the call earlier. I don't see him here. Okay. So, oh yeah, Tim's on the call. Tim, you're not on video. I was on a coaching call with Tim Cups out of Las Vegas, and we were doing a coaching call, and we were actually having an issue with creating a job description for a property manager maintenance person, and went into our Workman AI and built the job description. And then we redid it in Spanish. And it was fascinating to watch not just what the AI was able to do, but the way the client then took AI and started using it. Tim, tell me how you're using your Workman AI in your business. Are you able to come off mute? Let me see if Tim's still here. He's here. He's not on video, so he's probably multitasking. Okay, let me share my screen back with you again. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to just share with you a couple other things. We've got this new piece. We're adding new pieces to this all the time. So inside of this, we have Verlisms. If you just want to see what Verl would say about something, you can go and ask Verl. We've created a team leader playbook AI. All of our buyer agent mastery, listing agent mastery, and AMP programs are now searchable via AI, and so is our Jolt. This new bot right here is called a Team Fit Bot, and this is probably one of the coolest things we've built. And so it says, tell me what position you want to hire for. Heather, you want to hire a administrative assistant. And so it's going to go and say, great, here, let me lay out the qualities, the responsibilities. If you have their disc person, I can actually, using this bot, I can then upload their disc profile and their resume, and it will score the candidate and show you where they score as if be a right fit for the role that you're hiring for. How cool is that? And so it goes really deep in that. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it's a little bit mind-blowing on scoring people to fit against job descriptions. We know that if they have these certain criteria, they're going to do really well. That's kind of a fun one. The Coach AI is what our coaches have access to, and they can go in and they can look at any of the coaches' training. So when they're working with a client that has a complex question or problem, they get answered by the wisdom of our 100 real Workman success coaches that give them tons of just really cool information right there. So all different things that are on there. This is off our YouTube channel. There's over 100 videos in there. There's a role play bot, the Team Fit bot, the Jolt bot is just a recruiting and attraction bot. And we've put them in different AI bots because we want the content to be pure when you're looking for solutions in that particular type of need for your business. Does that make sense? And if you want to use the all A bot, you just go to Workman AI. So one of the challenges people have with running and developing their teams, I'm looking at my time here. I got to speed up because I'm spending more on this than I planned on, is I want to be able to do a daily huddle agenda for the next 6 months. So I'm going to get 6 months. I want all of my huddles for the next 6 months to be laid out so that I don't have to wonder what to say or how to say it or what to do. And so I asked the AI to do it. Now, what's unique here is that it's giving you the resources and how to do it. It's not just saying, here's your thing, but it's actually taking you right to the resources and then giving you videos where you can go back and watch demonstrations of how to do it right. And so we're dealing with skill enhancement, we're dealing with goal setting, we're dealing evaluations, advanced techniques, future planning, all in our daily huddles. And it's now laid out for the next 6 months. I think the complexity of running a team is getting more and more simple because we now have different levels of tools, AI access and resources available to us. So I would encourage you all to play with it, not just think about it, but make sure you're aligning yourself with people who are using cutting edge technology to help you grow in your business. And Workman certainly has that for you. Now, the next thing is I've got a client in Pacific Palisades, California. His name's Anthony Margulies. And Anthony, we help go from 100 million to over 500 million in sales with his team. And I want you to think about those numbers. Those are big numbers, aren't they? 100 million. Who would love to just get to 100 million, let alone 500 million in team volume? Well, one of the things that was really important to him is that as he came in and brought people in, he wanted his agents to give great client experiences. And so he created a survey. He created 90 questions. He actually has 200 of questions that every agent has to be able to answer before he lets them show a property. And so we've recreated this, and now we have a 90 question questionnaire that when you're training your agents, we then have you teach them how to get answers to all these questions so they have massive local market expertise. And so, what's the average mortgage rate? What are local schools considered? And how do you identify whether they're better schools or not? So where do you find the ratings? What do you know about key amenities that a buyer might be looking for in a certain market? What different builders complexes have different kinds of amenities? There's so many different questions right there. So what I want you to do is I want you to download this when you go to your Find Your Fit. We're going to give you an extra, this is like bonus content. Our coaching clients, this will be available in your coaching resources. For those of you who aren't clients, you just go to fill out the Find Your Fit form that'll come with the QR code, and we'll give you these 90 questions that you can have and then start training your agents on that. People ask me all the time, how do we inspire and lead and develop our team? I'm going to first tell you that when we first started doing teams, it was because the agent was so busy they couldn't do it all themselves. And so they hired people to make their lives better. And while there's nothing wrong with that, the way that we hire and develop people now to really inspire and motivate them, and Heather, I want you to really listen carefully to how this has changed. I now hire people so that I can help make their lives better instead of having them make my life better. So if I look at people and I pour into them and I help them have their life better, I get everything I want as a leader. But if I think of them as being servants to me without the focus on them, then they know that they're just there to do a role, as opposed to being led by someone who genuinely cares about the individuals. The way that we inspire people is we find out what they want in their business, what they want in their life, and we create a really clear path for that. People leave when they stop seeing opportunities. They don't see the opportunity to grow. They don't see what's next. And so they have transitions. So we have to constantly be thinking about how do we create new opportunities for people to grow. People need confidence. They need market knowledge. You got to role play with them daily. You have to give them constant feedback that's helping them grow. And you have to be able to make course corrections. But more importantly, I think that we've kind of lost our joy in the journey of real estate. And if you look back to what really brings you joy, Bob, and think about, when have you had your most, what are the things that give you joy? Look at my little guy. These are all my grandkids, by the way. No, this is just a few of them, but that's little Zane. Look at him driving the Jeep. Like, there is no greater joy than, like, he's got his shirt off, driving the convertible on the grass. Like, that is a happy kid right there. I want you to feel that kind of joy in your own business. Like, are you having joy? And if you're not, what do we have to do? And how do we help you get that? So what is it that you want to do the most? And then how do we build a business that supports that? So you get up every day loving what you do. Real estate is a means to an end. It's not because of houses that we do what we do. It's because of the lifestyle it allows us to have. And so what's the joy in your life that you're missing, that you used to have, that you want to get back? And how can I help you get that? And there's so many different ways of doing that. I asked my kids to send me pictures of their kids having joy. And it was so funny how many pictures I have. There's so many of them. One of the biggest things that we can do with our teams, with our businesses, is we have to learn to celebrate wins. And even if it's small wins, we have to celebrate those wins and victories. Have any of you read The 1 Minute Manager? 1 Minute Manager is a timeless classic. I want you to go back and look at it. Just look it up. It talks about 1 minute praises and 1 minute reprimands when you're building your teams. A 1 minute praise should be 4 or 5 times more than the 1 minute reprimands. The 1 minute reprimands is, hey, when you're not doing something right, here's a course correction. The 1 minute praises are, well done, great job. 4 to 5 times more praises than reprimands. And that's how you start building a culture of production and productivity. And then we have to figure out why. What it is that will get people to do hard things. What's their real why? And then help them achieve it. The way that we understand and get to know people's why is we have to ask deeper questions. They never tell you, Jenny, in the beginning what their real why is. They'll give you the superficial answer. But as you dig a little bit deeper, you're going to find out what really drives someone. And when you know what that is, then they'll do hard things because it becomes part of your purpose to help them get that. We had a lady who wanted to buy a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and it's not because she wanted a Harley. It's because she wanted to ride with her husband that goes on rides with his friends, and she wanted to be a driver, not a rider. And so the real why wasn't I want the motorcycle. The real why is I want to spend better time with my husband and be on the journey with him as a participant, not just as a passenger. I love that. And she set some specific goals. And I remember when she got her new Harley and rolled it into the office, and everybody went on social media and presented it in her first ride. It's been really fun to watch the team grow as the team leaders focused on helping their agents find the real why. So 5 things. Number 1, you have to learn what to delegate. What are your $100 an hour activities? Number 2, understand your return on time and make sure you're spending time on the things that give you the highest return on time. Number 3 is become attractive. Instead of recruiting, start attracting. Build a business that's attractive. You know what's more attractive than anything? Success. Success is attractive. Like, trying to hire people in a business that's not doing any business is not attractive. It's a tough sell. Develop market experts. So use the 90 questions that I gave you and help your agents become better at the business. We need to move into a professionals-based market. You know who makes more money? The pros. The pros get paid more. And if you become a professional in real estate and you take all of the life experiences and things you have in your head and your heart, and you start creating systems for training and developing others so they have it, that's when you become a great leader. And then leadership doesn't mean hiring people that do your bidding. It means developing people to be awesome based on the skills and the talents and the things that they have. Does that make sense? So we're going to develop leaders by helping them understand their role as a leader is business development and people development. And if you'll do that, you'll start building a team that is actually fun and you'll have joy in the journey. I'm going to give you the QR code again. So everybody grab this real quick. And when you go on, there's going to be a place that says Find My Fit. When you go to your Find My Fit on the website, then you'll get the extra 90 questions. So go through and do that, Find My Fit on the website for me. It just kind of tells us where you are in your business and where you want to go, and helps kind of lay it out for you. And then you'll get a phone call from somebody in my office that says, hey, let's see if we may be a fit, and we'll figure out what that might look like. The other question I was thinking about is, what kind of urgency do we have right now? I got a tour of the Ferrari Museum, and in the Ferrari Museum, they had this car. And this is a Le Mans car that after the end of Le Mans, which is a 24-hour race. And I don't know if you know about the Le Mans race, but this is really cool. They start at the beginning and it goes to the end. And it's not based on who gets to the end the fastest, but it's the car that travels the furthest in the 24 hours. So whoever goes the furthest in 24 hours wins the Le Mans race. Well, this is a winning car that Ferrari had in the race. And they took the winning car out of the race. They didn't clean it up. They didn't wash it, and they put it right on the floor of the museum. And I'm able to look at this car and I see the dirt and the bugs and the racers. And it just reminded me of the urgency that car had to have and what it went through to be able to travel the furthest. And it had technology, it had systems, it had the right people, it had 4 drivers, had all of the things that it needed to be able to create a winner. What is your urgency in creating greatness in your own life and business? My question to all of you is, what is your urgency? How fast and how far do you really want to go? And is it possible you're not performing at the level you believe you're capable of? And if so, what's your urgency to change it? I'm finding that right now, people have a different, kind of an interesting urgency. And they think that if they start at the first of the year, that'd be a good time to change things. For me, urgency happens when I get up in the morning every day, and the activities and things you focus on right now aren't going to pay you until January. So if we work during October, November, and December in getting all of your systems and people in place and trained, when January hits, you start making money. But if you wait to get in and follow coaching advice and do the things that you need to do till January, you're not going to see the results of that until May, June, or July. So what is your urgency? And I'm going to ask all of you to just think about that. When we're all done, I want you to be able to look back and ask yourself, was it a great ride? Did I have joy in my journey? Did I go in head first, all in, and say, let's do this? There's 2 of my grandsons right there. And by the way, his mom, that's Tay and Zane. Tay's mom's having another boy tomorrow. So we're adding 1 more to the grandkid list. Tomorrow, we're having another little grandson. They'll have 3 boys. Are you having joy in the journey? Because if you're not, maybe we need to do things a little bit differently. Okay, I'm going to stop my share for just a second, and I'm going to go off and just open the call up to any questions or any concerns or things that you're dealing with. And Candace, will you just let my next appointment know? I'll be a couple minutes. I'll be there shortly. I just want to make sure that I told everybody on the call when we started, I'd give them a few minutes to ask questions and answer some of their things. So let's go back and see if I answered some of the questions that you posted on there. Better follow up in your database. So Bob, you want to better follow up in your database, and I didn't give you specifics for that, but I want you to check out a company called Fellow, Fello.
Yeah.
Have you looked at them?
Well, I missed a webinar for them earlier in the week, and I'm trying to catch up to it. Yeah.
So I did one with their CEO, Ryan, and it was really good. And we did it together. What Fellow does is they go into your database, you upload your database into their system, and it uses predictive analytics to tell you the activities that people are having and getting ready to move. And our agents that are using it are killing it with it. It's not the first thing you should go buy. Like if you're not already being coached, your first thing is get a coach. And then let's look at where you're leaving money on the table. And there's a few things we can put into place that are 0 cost. So we lead with revenue, not expense. So I want you to first, let's look at your business. Let's look where you're leaving money on the table. And I want to plug those holes first. And then we'll add different things. So there's a right order to do things, and just going out and buying the tech. I love the technology and their systems that'll do it for you, but there's some free stuff you can do also to generate the revenue that you need to be able to pay for the things that matter. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. We've talked a little bit about best practice for building teams. Nancy, did I answer your question there? Would you like to get into a little more detail on that, or do you have a specific question you want me to help you with? Right now, there's a mass change and movement amongst real estate agents. Agents are concerned. They're not getting what they want from their broker. The brokers are doing lots of stuff on the class action lawsuit, but no one's selling any houses, and so it's not helping them. And so there's a lot of movement happening. And so if you want to attract buyers agents to your team right now, now's a great time to do it, but you got to be loud about it. And you have to offer something different. And what I like, the message I like to give to buyers agents is, if you want a high split, I'm not the place to go. If you want a high 1099, come talk to me, because I'll help you make a lot of money in real. I don't even want you on my team unless you're doing 2 deals a month. So if you're not making $100,000 a year and 2 deals a month, I don't want you on my team. So if you're looking to make more money, come and talk to me, and then I'll show them how to do it. And so that's the messaging we use with people right now. I think that's really, really helpful. So Nancy, hopefully that helps you with that. That'll help you finding a buyer's agent's best practice. Compensation for teams. I'll just tell you that you want to keep your profit at a 50% gross profit after your cost of sale. And so if you're paying, Heather, if you're paying for all the virtual tours, you're paying for all the marketing, you're paying for the transaction processing and management, you're paying for the lead generation, and then you pay an agent 50-50, you're not going to be at a 50% gross profit after your cost of sale. You're going to be at 12. And so you have to have compensation that is 50% after you pay those expenses. And so we've got it laid out for every position on the team. And if you, when you do a consult with one of my guys, you can ask them about that, and they'll share with you what that looks like. And they'll kind of they'll even give you a form if that helps you in your hiring of your team member. If there's something specific you need, whether you're a client or not, if you just ask us, we'll share it with you. We'll give it to you, and we'll help you as you're trying to grow things out. So just know that Workman is a company that is focused on business development and people development, and we have unbelievable tools and resources. There's probably no question you can ask me about teams that we don't have someone who's dealt with. Tracy, I love the question. When's the right time to start a team? I'm going to give you this real answer. It's the day you get your license in real estate. Because any time you spend doing administrative tasks is time you're not spending looking for new business. And so I'm going to say that doesn't mean you should go out and hire a bunch of people. What that means is you have to create leverage with systems first, and then maybe get a transaction coordinator, plug into broker provided tools or team provided tools or resources. I want to look at everything that's available to you. What are the things you have available that are low or no cost? And let's use those resources first. And let's get to a place, and we'll set goals on when we hire the first admin and the first buyer's agent. So there's a methodical process we go through based on where you are in your business, and then what happens next. And we have programs that start for if you're making less than 100 grand, I have a group coaching program called Production Coaching that gets you right into production as quick as possible. So the goal is, how do we sell more houses? That's an inexpensive program you can get into, and you get one of our great coaches, Catherine, who's on this call with us, and they actually get on and prospect with you and help you just get more deals. So wherever you are in your business, we have kind of a level and different ways of helping you. So when you go into your Find Your Fit and you do on my website, that'll kind of help you identify where you are and help us have the right conversation with you. Whew. Good questions, everybody. Anybody else have a question they want to ask? Jenny, you've been great on the call. Any questions from you? If we answered your questions, you got your buyer's agent on there. Tracy, we talked about your question. Anybody else? Hey, can I just say thank you for being here? Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being part of the Workman family. And we try and provide great value, whether you're a client or not. Just know that we want to help you in your business. And if there's an opportunity for us to work together, just raise your hand and let us know, and we'll reach out to you. Fair enough? All right, everybody.
Yeah,
thanks for being
thank you.
here. Let's go have some joy in the journey. And I'll talk to you on the next one. See y'all soon.